You can let it grate on you, you can let it really bother you, or you can take action. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope you all had a great one. We're almost done with Valentine's Day 2026. My God, it goes so fast, doesn't it? But I trust you all had a wonderful day and evening wherever you are. And hopefully you're with your loved one and you're not watching this and you'll watch it on the replay. But if by chance you are going to pop on, happy Valentine's Day from me to you. How to spot fake friends, recognizing and dealing with phony people. That is something that I'm fortunate I didn't really put my hat in the ring of always having to deal with that, so to speak, because I really do believe you're open to it. You become an easy target. But there are some people that are decent at staying out of the fray and still get bitten by the bug. As much bug spray that you could put on you, one's going to get through. And it can be very betraying. It really can. Someone you trusted can leave wounds that are very deep, much more than physical injury. Absolutely. But recognizing the warning signs early could save you from beginning another unsuspecting victim from becoming one. Uh, you know, in a world where relationships form the brick and mortar of our personal and professional lives, the cornerstone of who we are since we're small. Kindergarten, we make friends throughout school. You remember being maybe 8 or 9, 10, 11, where you're not really going on public transportation a lot. So when you leave a friend the last day of school in grammar school or even junior high, you don't see them till September. Back in the day, we didn't have FaceTime or any of that or social media. I might have seen you the second week of June for the last time until September. And the specter of that betrayal looms large because people change during the summer. How many of you remember, especially girls who got tall quick over a summer? It seems like they grew 3 inches. You don't even recognize them, especially like seventh, eighth, ninth grade. But it casts a shadow of your personal life, everything you do, because the specter of betrayal, it seems very large. It is large. It looms large, and it casts a shadow. Even the most solid connections that you may have with people, the backstabbing personality is a term that really scares people. And it's more common than we'd like to admit, because if we admit it, that means we must have done something where they betrayed us. So it shows our weakness. And if a friend who smiles to your face while plotting your downfall, or a colleague at work who praises your work in public, undermines you when you're not there. And my father used to tell me a long time ago, don't bother then telling people how you're doing. He said, because 50% of the people really don't care. And the other 50% are rooting against you. I would say that's a little overstated, but he's on the right track there. So what is a backstabber? What defines a backstabber? Well, that's the problem. A backstabber can be omitting information, going to a movie with a friend and you don't invite the other friend, where generally speaking, you guys hang out, or you gals or the whole group. doing something, omitting information because you don't want to deal with it. Is that lying? Or it, it can be, depends what the situation is. But picture this, a chameleon of sorts, right? Blending into your social circles with ease, very ingratiating, armed with a disarming smile, a knack for saying just the right things, hooks everybody. But beneath that, they've expertly crafted an exterior that is a web. Deceit, lies, ready to snare an unsuspecting victim. And these, especially in high school, you see it. Hey, Mitch, but these people are very, very adept at grabbing you. And before you know it, you're in the mousetrap. They're masters of duplicity. Their actions leave a trail of broken trust, shattered relationships in their wake, and they may ruin relationships for you, not only with them, but with other people. Now, there's something called the two-faced tango, unmasking the backstabber. So what's the backstabber's psyche? Because you really should know it before you can do something about it, right? You really have to know what you're dealing with. You don't operate on a bad knee without the doctor seeing the MRI and seeing what he's going in to fix. At first glance, like I said, they're ingratiating. The life of the party, they charm everyone. But don't be fooled by the facade. The behavior is choreographed. It's like a dance of deception. That's what they should call it. Insincerity is their partner, their dancing partner. And imagine, say, Joanne, the office sweetheart, right? She's always ready with a compliment. She kills you with kindness every day. But when promotion time comes around, suddenly your projects are delayed. Rumors about your incompetence start swirling. That's the backstabber's creed. That's what they work on. Individuals often harbor deep-seated jealousy. They view others' successes as personal affronts and their own failures. Their competitive nature isn't about a healthy rivalry. Lennon and McCartney, right? He comes in with Strawberry Fields. Paul comes in with Penny Lane. You're not rooting against John. You just want to up him. Because the competitive nature isn't about a healthy rivalry. It's a zero-sum game. Your loss is their gain. And empathy, that's a foreign concept in their vocabulary. They have no idea what it means. And the most insidious trait is they are always involved in gossip. They're the town crier of the modern age. They spread rumors faster than you could spread a cold sneezing on everybody in a small room. It's just idle chatter, they feel. But it's a calculated move to undermine others while positioning themselves as the bearer of important information, right? So, what is the deal with the knife in your back? The proverbial one, right? What makes someone wake up and decide to be a backstabber? Does it happen? Did they wake up and just decide to be that? Uh, I would like to think most people don't get up in the morning trying to plan your demise, but unfortunately, what I'd like to think isn't real. It's not that simple. The roots of behavior run deep. A lot of psychological factors. At the core, many backstabbers are grappling with crippling insecurity. It's usually insecurity that drives the bus. Low self-esteem. Uh, they're wearing an emotionally invisible cloak where they're desperately trying to seem valued, and but they're not. They bring down others to create the illusion that they're better. Oh, if you're failing, I must be good because I'm not failing, right? Misery enjoys company. Their need for control and power, which comes with control. It's a hunger that they can't quench. They manipulate situations and people like puppets on a string, all to feel a sense of superiority. It's a twisted form of empowerment built on all the rubble of what you cause behind you and the other's trust of happiness, which goes down the drain. Many backstabbers have an intense fear of confrontation, though. They'd rather whisper behind your back than have an honest face to face with you. It's like they're playing an elaborate game of emotional hide and seek, always dodging the communication, hiding. Narcissists, they're the stars of their own movie, and everyone else, supporting characters, extras. They walk in and on as they need you, they call you for the sake of their storyline, pretty much. Uh, don't forget past experiences that you've had. Many backstabbers have themselves being portrayed as the victim, betrayal, abandonment, right? It's a terrible cycle. People get hurt, and there's just a chain of mistrust and pain that follows them. So, where are the red flags? How do you know this is happening around you when you've been pulled into a false sense of security? Wouldn't it be great if backstabbers came with a warning label? And I've met a lot of them. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. But don't fear, because I'm here to tell you what you're going to do. There are telltale signs, and I'll tell you what to look for. First, keep an eye out for inconsistencies. Do the actions match the words? Constantly praising you to your face, but you hear whispers of criticism from others. That's a red flag that looks like Wrigley Field on a cold April day. Flag blowing out, for those of you who aren't baseball fans. Sudden changes of behavior can be a giveaway. One day you're as thick as thieves, the next they're as cold as ice to you. Like emotional whiplash. They have you on a swivel. That means generally something's not going on right behind the scenes. Then you have information gatekeepers. Those are the people who always seem to be in the know, but don't share with you. They always seem to know everything, but they don't quite gossip. They create misunderstandings by selective information sharing. They keep you in the dark, and they're pulling the strings by the information they give you. And then there's the victim card, which has been since time immemorial. They're always wrong. They're always the poor me, the misunderstood soul. But you look closer, often they're at the center of the conflicts, stirring the pot while claiming innocence. And then you have the master of triangulation. I love this one. Backstabbers who excel at pitting people against each other, creating drama while positioning themselves as the neutral party. Divide and conquer. Social edition 101. So, when all fails, when you've trusted, it falls, it shatters, Humpty Dumpty, you can't put it back together. The fallout can be devastating. It leaves a trail of emotional wreckage in its wake. And victims always find themselves like grappling with deep seated trust issues after that. They can't form genuine connections. It's severely compromised because it is. It's like trying to build a house on quicksand. Every attempt at stability feels uncertain, and you get up tomorrow and it's sunk a little. And you have to start all over again, reinforcing all the time. And the damage doesn't stop with the emotional trauma. A backstabber's actions can have real world consequences. It could tarnish your reputation. You could lose your job, derailing your career. Imagine working tirelessly to build your professional standing and have it crumble due to malicious rumors or sabotage. And the worst is if it's not true. If it's true, do you deserve it? Probably not, but at least you did something wrong, right? It's not a setback. It can be career altering, life altering. In group settings, the impact ripples outward. It disrupts team dynamics. If you're working, I remember it happened. I'll tell you a couple stories when I was in stock brokerage. Eroding cohesion. The group does not trust each other anymore. What was once a well-oiled machine, it's fractured now. Distrustful environment, collaboration, you know, you're better off wishing to see God walk in front of you because it's not happening. It's trying to complete a puzzle when every time I turn my head, you steal some of the pieces. It's frustrating and it's futile because you're not going to complete the puzzle. The long-term effects seep into every aspect of your life. Victims non-trusting, whether you're dating, if a spouse cheated on you or a partner, you end up second guessing every interaction. Am I being played for a fool again? Your confidence is shaken to a core. And this hypervigilance that you feel, the constant state of it, could knock the hell out of you. It exhausts you. Anxiety, depression, it's very heavy to burden all that. And it can cast a long shadow over everything you attempt to do, from personal relationships to jobs. So, how do you fight back? That's the key. How do you fight back? Well, how do you protect yourself from these social predators? It's not about becoming paranoid because you could be paranoid, but they are talking about you. Build a toolkit. Go to Home Depot, proverbial. Uh, get a nice toolbox and fill it with every tool you'll need. Safeguard your emotional and professional well-being. So what do you need for that? Okay. The first tool you take out of the box, clear set of boundaries. Think of creating an invisible force field. You take it out like a light. Be selective with the information you share and with whom you do. Not everyone needs to know everything about your life or work. It's not about being secretive. It's about being smart. Document, especially in your professional life. Keep a paper trail. Save those emails. Jot down those notes after conversations. It may seem paranoid, but if things go south, you'll be glad you have the evidence to back up your side of the story. When it comes to confrontation, channel your inner diplomat. No need to curse. Once you start cursing, you lose them and you seem like you're wrong. Address directly issues calmly. It's like diffusing a bomb. No one walks over to a bomb and just starts meticulously. Steady hands, cool heads are crucial. Sometimes shining a light on the behavior is enough to make them back off because they don't want to be seen as a troublemaker. And they'll almost start regressing. I've always said some of your best friends are friends that weren't friends. They were adversaries and they spend their life trying to prove their worthiness of being your friend. So they're more committed to you than the friend that you normally would think would be. You don't have to go it alone either. You could seek support from trusted friends, family, professional counselors, whatever the case may be. I do a lot of it with the life and health coaching. Um, Perspective, emotional support, and sometimes a reality check because sometimes people just don't see the forest from the trees. It's like having your own personal cheerleading squad behind you and a strategy all rolled into one. And then you build yourself resiliency with this. You strengthen your self confidence and your emotional intelligence. You start to read people. You're a chess player, you're a couple of moves ahead. The stronger you are internally, the less power backstabbers have over you. It's like the bully. You give the bully the power. Generally speaking, they'll move on if they're not getting what they need out of you. It's like developing an emotional immune system. You may get the virus, but you're better equipped to fight it off. So, what's the silver lining with growing through adversity? Well, if you're dealing with a backstabber, it's challenging. It is. Even the worst backstabber who's not good at it, it's still annoying. It could be a catalyst for personal growth, right? You reassess your relationships, you strengthen your boundaries, you get a keener sense of your emotional intelligence. Think of it as a crash course in human nature. Painful, but enlightening. No pain, no gain. And this experience can lead to a deeper appreciation for the authentic relationships you're going to come across. If they're navigating through murky waters of betrayal, value of genuine connections becomes crystal clear now, right? It's like emerging from a dark tunnel into bright sunlight. Suddenly you see everything with a new clarity. The colors are brighter. You see everything. Healing from betrayal is a journey. It's not a destination. I can't just set you there. You can't put approximately a restaurant in GPS. Doesn't work. You need the name. You got to know where you're going, an address at least. Be patient. You're navigating something without a lot of experience in how to navigate it correctly. It's okay to feel hurt, angry, lost. These feelings are the stepping stones on your way to the recovery. So the world has its fair share of backstabbers. I'm sure you've crossed them, and you probably will again. Maybe not as much if you're not out as much. If you're our age now, my age, 64, you're not out as much as you used to be. But it's full of genuine individuals out there. And that's the key to navigate relationships with balance of openness yet caution. Trust your instincts, even if they've been wrong in the past, because you're working on getting them better. Value yourself and remember that you have the power to choose who's getting a starring role in your life. You're the casting director, right? If you stay vigilant to these signs, you understand the psychology behind the behavior and arm yourself with strategies in that toolbox. You're not just protecting yourself, but you're paving your way to a healthier existence and more fulfilling relationships because you'll understand the relationships that are posed to you and what they are about. Life's too short for fake friendships, people, and toxic connections. Here's to authentic relationships, personal growth, and wisdom to know the difference between a true ally and a wolf in sheep's clothing. Backstabbing, gaslighting. That's another form of manipulation you might encounter. Both involve a layer of distrust. Backstabbers work behind the scenes. Gaslighters operate more openly in your reality so you can see them. They're actually talking to you. Backstabbers often exhibit lying, manipulative personality. Their tactics vary, but their end goal is the same, to take advantage of you at your expense. In romantic relationships, the homewrecker personality, not all backstabbers are homewreckers. They overlap. Disregard for others' feelings in relationships, right? Serial cheaters, specifically in romantic relationships, but the underlying personality trait usually aligns with those of backstabbers. Poison personality type. It can contaminate a whole group of friends. You know, um, it's manipulative. No one likes to get manipulative in terms of wanting to sway people. You don't like to do that. You don't want to be manipulative, right? They use various tactics to control situations, and it's usually at the expense of others. They're paying for their dinner with your money. And it can really escalate into severe forms of mistreatment. The abusive personality, harmless gossip can be very sinister. If I take my feather pillow here, take my knife and open it up and throw it out in the wind, windy day, all the feathers are going to go all over the place. Now, if you go and try to gather all those feathers, you may get most of them back. There's going to be some feathers still out there in the wind. That's gossip. Some people have a mean streak. You ever hear that? You have a mean streak. Cruelty. A lot of people have a mean streak. And sometimes you might be the one who's the backstabber and you don't even know it. A saboteur personality. You sabotage everything you do because it holds you back. It gives you an excuse not to succeed. You can blame someone without having to blame yourself. Right? It's rough. It's very rough. It takes a great deal of fortitude to realize you don't have all the answers. And knowing that you don't makes you that much stronger because you admitted that you don't have all the answers and that you need help. Not necessarily necessarily professional help. You could talk to your friends. Gina, happy Valentine's Day from me to you. Sometimes we tend to forget the most basic things we need. Life can be very trying. It can be. And trying in the sense that we're afraid. We don't want to find out that someone doesn't like us. It hurts. Or they never really liked us. They used us to manipulate a situation because it's a personal attack on your ego. You feel you're not worthy, and you feel that you're not worthy of love. Gina and I have lost pets. Gina a few months back, Colby last month. I laid here when I got this in the mail. Well, I went and picked it up. His ashes. And I really thought about it because people say, oh, he had a best friend, best friend. But really, was he my best friend? Like, why do people say man's best friend? All these malapropisms that, like, a malapropism is like Ringo, 8 days a week, a hard day's night, a, a, a double negative. I laid down when I was very down and depressed about it and started taking inventory. Was he my best friend? Like, what did he do to be my best friend? He never treated me to a dinner. He never helped me change the sheets. He never took a ride with me to get a cup of coffee. In fact, I did everything. He'd hint to me, do you want to go for a walk? But ultimately, he got something out of it. He wasn't thinking about my exercise. He was thinking about he wanted to go out. So what was it about Colby that earned him that title? Just like what was it about Timmy that was so wonderful to Gina that to this day, she can't talk about certain things. Think about that. Gina and I could have a conversation or certain subjects we still can't broach. It's too painful. That's a best friend. When you cannot even utter an example because it hurts that much. And then you dig down deep and you realize it was because you never had to ask for them to give you a kiss if you put your face close. You never had to ask them, did you miss me? Stay away for a little while and come back, see if they did. I guarantee you, I'll guarantee you a super chat, a bet to anybody that's out there. Go out for a while and come home and see if your dog kisses you or acknowledges you. If the dog doesn't, then the dog's not ill. You got the wrong dog. But you know what? I've never met a dog, even a dog out in the street that I might pet. Hi, is he friendly? And go over, or she, and they lick you. Or if they're not lickers, at the very least, they're wagging their tail, kind of like happy to meet you. So I got up from the bed. I don't remember how long I was laying down. It was at least an hour I was laying down. And I realized, shit, man, I see why I'm so upset. Little guy, you didn't mean it. I know you didn't, but you cut my heart out. And the only thing I know for sure, if someone hurts me out in the street, that's a guy, girl, rumors, or whatever, I know they tried to hurt me. I know Colby left this earth and would be mortified if he thought he hurt me. That's your best friend. And then you start wondering, oh, that time when I had to get him out of here because I was doing a YouTube show and he was barking, and I said, Colby. And I said, wait a minute. I put this on mute and I took him out there and said, take him. I'm doing a show. Was I wrong? No, it's life. I can count honestly on maybe in 17 years, 2 hands that have done that. Never hit him, God forbid. Be like, Colby, stop. You love your children, you do that a lot more to your children. They give you something that no one else can give you. They give you hope that the world isn't such a terrible place. They give you hope. They give you hope after seeing people screaming out in the street and watching Fox News, CNN. You come home and you have hope that everything's going to be okay because he's going to kiss you. Now, there are factors to this. You know, they have a pack mentality. They naturally bond with their human families. They have a pack mentality. They're dependent. They need food, shelter, care, fostering loyalty. They need you, right? Emotional connection, training and socialization, protective instincts, positive reinforcement. But is that enough? That just scratches the surface. I believe it just scratches the surface. You know, they'll follow you to the bathroom. I remember Colby used to follow me to the bathroom, wait by the door, like I've been gone for like I'm getting home from the war. Sense your mood before I even open my mouth. It's almost like they love it more when you have a crappy day because they could be your hero. That's loyalty, deep, instinctive, unapologetic loyalty that we don't have as human beings to other people. And that's why we fall so hard for them. That's why we just can't get over them when they leave us. And the loyalty can be a little overwhelming. Your dog could whine when you pick up your keys because they know you're going out. They won't eat unless you're home. They growl if someone gets too friendly with you, right? And that brings up a question that a lot of people ask, but they don't ask out loud. Why are dogs so loyal? Because we feed them? Because before he pees, I bring him outside? Because we're nice to them? Or does it go deeper than that? It's not what we taught them. It's what they taught us. Now, dogs are loyal because they've been evolving for thousands of years with us. Over time, they've become wired emotionally, chemically, socially to stick by us. They literally get a rush of oxytocin. It's a bonding hormone, oxytocin. Is it oxytocin? Uh, just from looking at us. Their brain is like radar to us, and they thrive on routines because their ancestors survived because of that. You know, you can go back and you read, and I did a lot of reading when he left me. Hey, Frank, uh, because I wanted to know what I was feeling. And I was reading about prehistoric times. Shih Tzus were breeded for the emperor, like to be by the king and all that. Picture of early humans sitting around a fire, tired from hunting, cooking whatever they caught, right? And not far off, there's a few wolves. Not the snarling wolves, quieter, maybe like curious. So, what are you cooking? I'm hungry. Now, most animals wouldn't take one look at those humans. They would have bolted. But if you didn't, they stayed close enough and that changed everything. Over time, wolves started to hang around more often. They grab our scraps. They keep predators at bay in return. So we fed them and they protected us. It wasn't friendship yet, but it was beginning of a friendship. You know, you're not best friends with someone after a week in school, but after the year, you swear you know each other 100 years in high school. Slowly, through thousands of years and a lot of trial and error, believe me, wolves became something entirely different. They just didn't survive near humans, they thrived with them. So, sticking close to humans helped dogs live longer, eat better, and raise more pups, right? The wolves were too aggressive, too fearful. But the ones who learned how to chill out and be around humans, they stuck around. They passed their genes down. And what used to be not running away became the flip side of loyalty. What started as watching humans from a distance to see what they're eating and they're up to turned into emotional connection. And we've all felt that. You compare wolves to dogs, they actually have genetic differences tied to social behavior. Certain genes are tied to friendliness and emotional responses. They show up way more in dogs than their wild cousins, wolves, right? Um, so why, when your dog gazes at you, do you feel like melting or buying him a house, signing the house over to him? Your dog lifts their head. They stare back at you. Not a blank stare, though. It's like they're connecting. They don't have to bark. They don't have to wag. You see the stillness and you're reading something with them, right? It hits you differently than a person does it. It's not cute behavior. It's not imagination playing tricks on you. There's something chemical going on between you and the dog. And if you've ever wondered why it felt so strong and personal, it's because it is. That hormone, oxytocin, toxin, it's the bonding hormone. It helps you feel close. It helps them feel safe. Their brains are telling them you're theirs. Now, it's one of the most misunderstood things, I think. But, I was always told when I was younger, don't stare into a dog's eyes. But the situation, when you stare into their eyes, if they love you, calmly, it boosts trust, comfort, closeness, right? Soft petting belly rubs, it's an emotional release. Cuddling, safety bond, like people. Talking relaxed makes your dog feel understood. Ah, my friend knows what I'm talking about, knows I want a treat. And the coolest part about it is it's a two-way street. The hormone loop isn't just for dogs, it works on you too. Think of the feeling you get when you're rubbing your dog, when your dog leans on you. That oxy's working in your brain as well. Your stress level goes down, you feel more secure, you feel bonded, it deepens. It's amazing. It's not a fluke that dogs react to us. They're reading your body language, your face, your tone, your posture, and they're spooky because they're always right, or at the very least, they're 99% of the time right, because they pick up subtle cues from us. They follow us in a way that we take for granted. Humans point to an object, even without food involved. A dog goes and checks it out. Emotion matching, vocal tone awareness, all that. Your dog could hide when you raise your voice, but not if you're joking. You're talking loud, they might get scared. You're talking loud with a joke, they're there, almost laughing with you. How come they come and sit with you when you cry, but not when you cough? You're exerting. Why do they wag differently when they're excited than when you're nervous? How come they know it's time for a walk even before you touch the leash? They see you motioning toward that area and they know you're taking them out, right? It's an anchor, it's an emotional anchor. It's not just cute behavior. They're not playing you. Dogs bond with humans like young children bond with parents. Safe place, emotional compass. It's their anchor. Shared habits, consistency is big. Consistency growing up with a child. Raising a child, consistency is very big, right? They sleep at your feet, outside the bathroom when the door's closed. They relax when you're calm. They sit beside you in silence. They lose interest in playing and food when you're not around. They know who you are. You know why? Because they're not trying to work you. They want to know who you are because they love you. And Gina's been through that. That's fine, Gina. That's fine. Thank you for coming in. Haley, it's it's quite an upheaval. But I will tell you, as much as it hurts, it's an upheaval that I'm glad I'm dealing with. I am, because that means that I had him. Was it all worth it? I'm talking about him. I guess it was. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Thanks for coming in. I'll see you soon. Be well.